Hello everyone, Bertina Amy here, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing a Dollar Tree DIY Grinch wreath. So today I thought I would go ahead and do a Grinch wreath, and you're probably wondering how I'm going to go about doing that, but I'm going to start first with a 14-inch wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to also use this fall green ribbon. I think it's the closest to his color, but also, I'm sure that when I do the face piece, it's still going to stand out, so I'm not even going to worry about it. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and take actually both of these off their spools, and I'll be right back. So I have these two ends, and I'm just going to fold them in half, like once like this, and we can adjust as we go too. It doesn't have to be all the way down. And then the other side the same way, and then I'm just going to do hot glue, and then take one end and stick it inside the other, and then clip. All right, once it's cool, go ahead and take it off. And then it doesn't matter where we start, but I am going to say that I'm going to start by, and just start, I'm going to pull this through on this side, and then this one I'm going to pull through. And don't worry about how this looks right now because we're going to cover this anyway. So just going to pull these through. Okay, so this is so I can try to lock it into place. It might slide at first, but you'll see as we get to like this point and keep wrapping, it will actually hold its spot. I hope that makes sense. But, oh, and I just remembered, to make sure that the pattern is consistent, we actually probably should only do under the left bar and over the right bar. And then we're just going to pull this through. These are only 3 yards per roll, so it won't take as long to go through. So we're going to pull it this way and then pull the other one through over. All right. And then I'm just going to do the right over the left, with the right going under the bar on the left. Okay. So the pattern is right over left, and then going under the bar on the left, over the bar on the right, and then repeat. And you can choose to make it one solid color, or you can alternate colors. And if you alternate colors, it'll give you like a zigzag pattern, which looks super cool. All right, so I'm gonna keep doing this, and I'll be back when I get to this bar right here. Okay, so here I am at the end here. Now I'm gonna show you, you could do one of two things. You could keep going, or you could push it upwards, causing the inner pieces to, so if you don't want any gaps here, you could push it up a little bit, and then you can go in another time for the spot on the left, and careful because material sometimes wants to catch on to the edges of the wreath, so you don't want to tug too hard and then suddenly your materials are kind of coming apart. All right. Okay, so then we can continue. I don't mind a little bit here, and I personally don't mind a little bit of a gap. You could choose to go in again, and if you're like no gaps at all, you have two options. You can either let it be all flat here and then go back in and just kind of take a ribbon and go in and out around the gapped areas. It's totally up to you. I think it'll look cooler if it'll look cool either way, in all honesty. So to me, it doesn't really totally matter. So I'm going to go ahead and try to, I think it showcases the design better without adding another ribbon to go around on the outside. I hope that makes sense. So I'm just gonna, and it's gonna feel tight, but we can make it work. Just pull through. And then I'm gonna consider that to be my last round for this section. But then I'm gonna repeat the pattern and then go, oh, it's this way. And then I'm going to do the rest off camera, and I'll be back when we get close to the end over here. All right, coming up on the end here. And I'm actually happy with how this is looking. And I'm going to scooch it up just the one time. And let's see, we're going to get, this is the part where we're going to be able to cover this up. All right, so go in one more time. And then this will get glued to the back. And then this, actually, no, we're going to pull through one more time. Okay, because we want to continue the pattern. So we're going to go, I'm going to probably just take the ribbon, go around one more time so you don't even see that. And then this can get tucked under. So I do want to cut this now. Let me first, before I glue the one here, this one here, so I want this tucked underneath here. So we could probably do this, and I purposely pushed this in. If I ever redo this wreath, which I don't know that I will, we could talk about an alternative. I have other ideas on how this will work, but right needs to go over left, right? So this will go like this. So we're going to make it look as seamless as possible. Meanwhile, this is going to go I'm just going to tuck it in like that. And let's add some hot glue so that we can get it to stay. Okay. And then, so that's going to stay like that. And then this one, we are just going to trim off like there. Add hot glue here. Grab our clip to help us hold this into place. And we're going to let that cool. Okay, so I just want to point out as this is cooling that this is how much I have left. So this is just 2 ribbons, you guys. You don't even need 4. And if you did this is a 14 inch. If you got the 18 inch, this might be a little tight. It may or may not, I don't know. But I'm leaning towards 14 inch for a reason. But if you're having a hard time getting that at the Dollar Tree, you might be stuck with doing the 18. It depends on how badly you want to do this project and if the size makes a difference to you or not. But this is going to be my wreath base. And I think this is going to be super cool. And it looks pretty seamless to me. You can't even tell. I mean, I know where it is, but it looks pretty seamless. So this is just the base, and I'm going to grab the next item that we need. All right, so here's the next item. This is going to be the Grinch's face. And I just need to grab some apple barrel paint to be watered down because I'm going to do a wash over this entire thing without the wreath underneath it, obviously. And I'm not going to make this an ornament. I'm thinking of, well, actually this part won't actually matter, so we're not going to worry about that. But you're probably wondering how it's going to get attached. We'll also worry about that later. So I'll be back with the paint. So here I'm just taking a small little Dixie cup, filled it with water, and added a little couple drops or so of the paint I chose. The name of this paint is called English Ivy Green, and watered down, I think it turned out perfect. But basically I water it down and then I just do a wash over the entire piece just because I want to make sure it has complete coverage. I also do the back. That part is optional. It's totally up to you. I do it anyway because I had more than enough that I made. I didn't even need as much as I made, so I did it just to use it up. But in any case, super easy to do, and the color's perfect for this. The 2 ounce bottle is more than enough because you really don't need that much, and for only 58 cents. So off camera, I went ahead and free-handed his face. If you have tracing paper, feel free to use that instead and just print it out on a sheet of paper. But I didn't have a way to print it at the time that I made this, so I went ahead and just free-handed it, and I gave more space than there usually typically is seen, at least in the images I've seen of the Grinch, but I think it still works and looks like the Grinch. And in any case, I'm going for the classic original Grinch from the old cartoon version. But anyway, I used this yellow from Apple Barrel and just color in the shade of his eyes because for some reason they're not white in the cartoon or whatever. So I go ahead and use that. And then after that dries, I go ahead and trace my outlines using black marker. I happen to have acrylic markers on hand, but feel free to use a Sharpie if that's what you have on hand. So this part is optional, but here I'm going ahead and painting this black chalkboard heart in red paint. And I do several coats off camera to ensure I'm happy with the coverage. I also took a pool noodle, cut it down to size, and then cut a slit into it so that I could wrap it underneath the Grinch's face. And then I decided to make an arrangement of king poinsettia florals as well as regular red poinsettias. These already I had in my stash and I thought would be perfect for this project. Alternatively, feel free to hot glue some faux fur if you have some over the pool noodle instead. But I happen to have all these pieces in my stash. And I go ahead and hot glue some of the petals down just to cover up the black pool noodle. Feel free to skip this step if you have very good coverage. These sparkling hearts, the pink and red, were from Valentine's Day a couple years back, and I still have so many of these. And it's hard not to get glitter on this guy's face. I'm trying to avoid that, but it might be inevitable. So I'm trying to get rid of that. So I'm not sure why, but Dollar Tree refers to these wooden heart pieces from Valentine's Day as ornaments. I look at that as more like scatter, but in any case, they're wooden pieces. There's no string to make them into ornaments, but I'm going to use them for this project anyways. Besides that, I only need one piece and I want it to be the right size so that you can see 3 visible hearts. And finally, the moment I've been waiting for, and now I can actually hot glue this heart to the larger one. Try not to burn myself in the process. I'm going to cover up the hole from the other one and then just kind of press down or whatever. Doesn't need to be perfect. And then I thought this would look really good against the white flowers. Could put it up there, but I don't want it covering the face, so kind of a thing. Okay, so this was one that I messed up on for my Valentine's Day project from a few years back when I did like my sort of updated, what you call it? It was like an updated or improved, or can't think of words, but better version of their, at the time they were selling those. They were selling those kissing booths. Let me know in the comments below if you've been with my channel that long. I would love to know how many of you have been, because frankly, I've already lost track of time, and I know my channel was not as large at the time. It was quite small. Anyway, so it's not perfectly centered. I could probably fix that slightly, but these projects are never going to be perfect anyway. Just hot glue just tends to just stick automatically. But I think that looks really, really good. And then we just got to bring in the Grinch. Here he is. And I don't want his face covered by the ruffles. And it looks like I need to touch up on this part because, yeah, I mean, it's not a big deal. But I think this is looking so good, you guys. I would love to know what you guys think because this is definitely a unique project for me. I still need a hat, and they're not selling them at Dollar Tree just yet. But I'm loving the way that this looks and loving the way that the Grinch is looking. I think once I add the hat and hot glue it into place in the way that I want, it's going to be awesome. At least I think so. I mean, I might be kind of biased there, but I think this looks so cool. Guys, these actually finally came in. I'm so excited to put this on my Grinch. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. I think this side looks kind of like better than this side. This side has like more wrinkles. So I think I'm going to use this side. I don't want to cover up the work that I did, and I'm going to do it on a tilt. Just gonna add some hot glue in here. And then press down. And I'm gonna add hot glue where there seems to be the fold so that it looks nice and flat. There we go. All right, so I like the angle of this. I'm gonna go ahead and first glue this down, add some hot glue underneath, and then just kind of press it down. Okay, I finally found a simple solution for this. I'm just going to hot glue this scrap bit of foam board into the Grinch's back or whatever. So try to get this all on here. All right. Then see. Hopefully this is exactly where I want it. Just enough to kind of to give that form I wanted, and I don't mind if it slouches slightly because of the material being what it is. So I think this is just enough to make it sturdy enough, and I'm lifting it and making sure it. I think that's just perfect. So now I'm going to bring the wreath back in, and then we can work on attaching this guy into it. So, okay, so you may or may not recall that I have scrap ribbon, which I think would be perfect for the back. It's basically the same color, just a darker shade. Then I also have these pipe cleaners, which I got from Goodwill for 99 cents. Better price than Dollar Tree, so it's perfect. They were selling a bunch and no one was picking them up, so I thought, why the heck not? You never know if you're going to need some colors and certain colors, and I don't recall seeing these in stores as of late, and I'm assuming these are super old. Someone probably stashed them for a while. Anyway, I thought these would be perfect to be as close to these colors as possible. So I'm just going to grab, let's see, maybe like two of them just to be safe. And you don't have to have them matching. I'm just doing that to prevent the possibility of it showing up. I don't know why it would, but more than enough ribbon. I don't need this much. I'm basically going to use this as what I'm going to call as like fabric tape to help adhere these. Here, let's fold these in half actually. So roughly. So, you know, so say this is like where we're going to attach the ribbon or something like that. Let's just say. Then we want more surface area to make sure it adheres to the back of the Grinch's head. And clearly I have more than enough. And I'm calling it fabric DIY fabric tape because you're essentially just you're adding a stickiness to a section of material. So which is just like tape basically. All right, so then we're going to do 2 of these on the ends of the Grinch here. So, and then add some here, putting it here. We don't want that to peel off too easily. So that's why we're making our own sort of fabric tape. Okay. And I'm keeping it long because this, I think, basically just covers a part of the wreath, but not totally. I don't know if that makes sense. But okay. Doesn't need to be perfect. Then I'm going to do a generous amount of glue. And we want to make sure none of this ribbon shows up on the other side. So I'm just going to do generous amounts of glue over all this. Okay. And then okay. And then I think I'm just going to try to, it's a little too close to the bottom there. Okay, let's go ahead and bring this in, bring this around, and then we're going to, let's see here. So we want him to kind of lay, it's almost like he's popping his head through a wreath. Kind of the idea I was going for. So we're going to turn him around like this. All right. So this is where we could take advantage of, actually, maybe I'll go behind. You could go in between, but I don't want to mess with the way that that looks. I hope that makes sense. And I don't need it totally flush. It's not going to be totally flush anyway. Okay, so we got that, and then, okay, we got that. Okay, let's see how that's going to go. And then we're going to do this side. I definitely want it attached. How it's attached doesn't totally matter as long as it's attached and it's not going to fall out. Okay, and then this side. And then before we tie everything together, okay, we got some excess there, but let's turn it around, make sure we like the placement. Actually, I'm very happy with that placement. So we're just going to go ahead and twist it around on that side and twist it around on this side. A little bit of popping out is totally fine. So don't let that bother you. If you don't want these sticking out, you can just keep twisting it to oblivion, basically, and then try to make sure that if anyone's going to be handling it, that it's not going to be nothing's going to be poking out at you and hurting your fingers or whatever. And then that's pretty much all I got for this project. And I think this is looking awesome. Okay. Turn it around. I think he looks great. So this I want dangling on purpose. So it has, you know, whatever. And then, oh, and you're probably wondering, how is this going to hang? That's, oops, sorry about that. That's a very good point. Might be able to squeeze. Actually, yes, I think you can, based on the gap, you should be able to hang it from back here. So I'm going to test that out, and then if it works out, the next you'll see is the final results. And here's the final result. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you or someone you know has recently been diagnosed with cancer, I'm currently selling cancer awareness shirts for warriors, slayers, and supporters, based off of my upcoming book, The Cancer Dragon. If you were to ask me honestly, the idea for this logo came from my DIY Cancer Dragon wreath. To me, there's something to be proud of in becoming a Cancer Dragon Slayer, and I really hope my journey inspires you. These shirts were created with all of you in mind, and I was so happy with the design that I wanted to make it available for anyone who feels connected to this journey. The basic gist of it is, I became diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, got pregnant during fertility treatments, refused to abort, despite my doctor's warnings that I'd die at birthing my child. For book updates or to support me, scan the code or click the link below. If you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.